I am well over halfway to the top of Whitecap. I've maintained a pretty straight and direct approach. In case you were wondering how it's going, this is what I'm dealing with. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Thomas Kerr, and you're watching episode 3 of 53.5, a original hiking series where I am setting out to climb all 50 of the 3,500 footers here in Maine. Today I am on Porterbrook Road, and it's a ways out here. I am just about on the Canadian border. And in the last episode, I climbed Monument 450 and Boundary Peak, which are right in this area as well. So last night I actually spent the night here, and this morning I am setting out to do Whitecap, Kennebago Divide, and the southwest peak of Kennebago Divide. So that will give me 3 more of the 3,500 footers, and 2 of those are also on the 100 highest list, so they will count for that list as well. I mentioned in the last episode that the hike I was doing was kind of a step up from doing snow chain of ponds as far as bushwhacking goes, and this is another step up from the last hike. These are bushwhacks. There is somewhat of a herd path, I believe, but I think people usually approach this from the east side. Pretty sure that's where the herd path is best established. I am actually on the west side, just because I'm in this area to do the other ones. So we'll see how easy it is to follow the herd path and how much bushwhacking has to be done. All right, guys, let's get climbing. So instead of just going and trying to find the herd path, I decided to take a more direct approach and go straight from where I was parked and bushwhack my way up. I did this in part because I knew the first section coincided with what I did yesterday, and it was all tall grass and pucker brush and stuff, so I knew I was going to get soaked going through there, so I figured I might as well just take the more direct approach, and I got soaked all right. It was fine for a little while, but then I got into some tall grass, and all the condensation and such on the grass soaked my pants, and then the swampy ground underneath the grass soaked my feet. So got that over with. I am well over halfway to the top of Whitecap. I've maintained a pretty straight and direct approach up, which is good. So continue heading that way and see if we can reach the summit. One of the things I absolutely love is climbing a mountain with 0 expectations for a view, because these ones are not supposed to have any view. They're all wooded. And then seeing daylight and walking out and seeing a pretty sweet view. Hold on, check this out. Unfortunately, the wide angle lens I have doesn't really capture what the view actually looks like. I can't zoom in on it, but just take my word for it. It's pretty sweet. The mountains look big. It's looking out towards Canada. So yeah, definitely a good surprise. I'll take it. I'm gonna be at the summit within the next few minutes. So let's go tag that. Whitecap, Maine 3,500 footers, number 9. New England 100 highest, number 67 of 100. So now I am headed for Kennebago Divide. There is kind of a ridge that connects between these two mountains, and thankfully there is a pretty well established herd path between them. Like I said, most people come up it from the east side, but of course everyone comes along this herd path in between, so it's pretty nice to follow. I shouldn't have to bushwhack too much until I go out to the southwest peak of Kennebago Divide. So, onward and upward. So I'm at an intersection, and I just came from that way, and if you continued going straight, that would take you down Bear Brook Road, and that would be the west approach, which most people take. But instead, I'm going to take a hard right here, and you can kind of see the faint herd path that goes in that way toward Kennebago Divide. So the herd path disappeared for a little bit, but I just intersected back with it, and it looks nice and well defined through this section anyway. Definitely not as easy to follow as the one on Snow Chain at Ponds was, but it's not too bad. Kennebago Divide, Maine 3,500 footers, number 10. I'm in the double digits. This mountain is also known as North Kennebago, as you can see here on the sign. So, time to sign the register and see if I can find my way to the southwest peak. So now that Kennebago Divide is done, my final climb is going to be heading over to Kennebago Southwest. So I wasn't really sure what to expect, couldn't really find any information on it, but there does appear to be a small herd path heading in that direction. So I'm gonna start on that, and if it takes me in the right direction, I'll just follow that, see where I end up, and worst comes to worst, I will just make my own way across. It's kind of another ridge, not too bad of a descent and ascent, but we'll see what I encounter on my way, and go from there. The herd path quickly disappeared. It may have not even been an actual herd path. It may have been like a literal herd path from like moose or something. But so I'm bushwhacking it. It's slow going, but I'll get there. In case you were wondering how it's going, this is what I'm dealing with. Right now I'm in a kind of clear-cut area from previous logging, but there's been a lot in the woods. Thankfully I found some fairly open stretches to get through, so I didn't have to go through super dense trees. I'm a little over halfway now, but it is very slow going, and you can see just a tiny bit of a view out through the clearing. Not much, but making progress. Keep on going. Probably can't see it, but there's a deer right in between those two trees. Just standing there looking at me, wondering what I'm up to. Hey buddy. Okay. There he goes. I can't believe it. I just bushwhacked all the way up this mountain. Kennebago Divide Southwest Peak, Maine 3,500 footers, number 11. No sign, of course, but I wasn't even sure if there'd be a register, but thankfully there is. I'll see when the last person was up here, because this is one of those I imagine not many people take the time and effort to do. So true. This original log goes all the way back to 1995. Last person up here was in June, so not crazy long time ago, but it's been a little while since anyone's been up here, so I threw my name in there. And I think what I'm gonna do is, instead of bushwhacking all the way back to Kennebago Divide and going all the way back around, I'm gonna bushwhack right down off of this one and cut over to the road, and then once I'm on the road it'll be easy to just hop up to my car. But honestly, the bushwhack down probably isn't much longer than it would be just a bushwhack back to Kennebago Divide, and I don't particularly have an interest in doing that, so I'm gonna take a quick break, eat a snack, and start heading down that way. After a long slog through dense woods and then through big swaths of all this really tall brush, I have connected with this old logging road, and instead of having the tall like pucker brush, it just has this grass, and you can actually see where you're stepping, which is actually quite the luxury, I will say. So I don't know how much longer I'll be able to be on this. I still have to get to the actual road, but for the moment, it just feels so good to walk on. What an awesome sight to see the road. It's so nice to walk on a clear path. I'm back to my car, everybody. Ooh, this was quite a hike. It wasn't as challenging as the last hike I did as far as physical exertion, but just in terms of all the bushwhacking, it was definitely a big challenge. Although the mileage wasn't super high, I think it ended up being about 6.5 miles, which is usually not much for a hike. But when you're doing bushwhacking for the majority of that, it definitely wears on you. I don't want to give a bad representation of what it's like. A lot of that was definitely type 2 fun, not like something that you're like, oh, I love this all in the moment. But it was super cool to get to all 3 of those peaks today and bring my total up to 11 out of 50 of the 3,500 footers, and a total of 5 additional ones, this weekend alone. So that was sweet. Always good to get out and do some peak bagging. Thank you guys for watching and following along. And until next time, stay inspired, stay creative, and I will see you in the next video. See you later.